Welcome to Bookclub no Kiseki. I'm Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
And I'm Matt Jorgensen.
And the portion of Falcom's Kiseki series we'll be playing today is Chapter 4 of Trails from Zero. I forget which part this is because there's prologues and intermissions and a lot of stuff, but Chapter 4 is the chunk that we'll be talking about today. But before we get started on all of that, how was your week? Because I'm out of this bit.
Thank you.
I got
I'm
it.
so glad.
What's it, bruv?
What's it, bruv? One more week.
Oh. I studied French in college a decade ago. Because I'm old and I'm looking to relearn it. So I tried putting my Xbox language in French, and now I can play all my games in French on my Xbox. Well, not all of them have French voiceover, but a lot of them do. I can play The Elder Scrolls. I can play Fallout. I can play Dragon Age. The Witcher 2.
Have you got far enough into any of them to hear any of the VA?
No, I was just testing it out.
Okay.
I can tell you though, because I checked in on it. This was something I was checking on my Steam Deck because I happen to have these games on Steam for some reason. At least Claptrap's voice is a lot better in French, a lot less annoying in Borderlands.
That's good.
Because Claptrap is his voice is fine, and then he says a second sentence, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared for this.
Yeah, there was a certain way that we all were from 2009 to 2013 when we were in college that has not grown up well, and Claptrap is very stuck in that era.
Confession?
You were the voice of Claptrap.
No, but Claptrap still works on me. I don't feel good about it either.
I'm real excited to. I'm gonna start with Oblivion. I think that'll be fun.
That's a good one to start.
It'll
with.
probably be weird and bad and hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure the Xbox version of Oblivion will let me play it in French. I didn't actually check that one specifically, but I looked into it. I think it should work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so cool. I have these Xbox 360 games digitally, and I can just switch the language on my Xbox, and now I have the French version. That's cool.
Very cool. I have been playing Atelier. That's the one. And I have not been playing it in a different language, but because the 3DS is dying next week, it has made me want to play my 3DS a lot. And so I might pick up Dragon Quest XI 3DS again because it's good.
I think
it's in Japanese.
You might be able to do two birds with one stone. I thought there was an Atelier game on the 3DS.
There fucking probably is.
Yeah, there probably is, and if there's not, there's that one that is definitely Atelier adjacent that Griffin has talked about. It's like Nia and the Time Potion or something like that. I can't remember it off the top of my head now, but there are definitely Atelier likes. But
looks like new Atelier Rorona, the Alchemist of Arland, was on there.
That's nuts,
and I think that's. Looking at this list, looks like that's the only one.
That was a PS3 game to be ported to the 3DS. The 3DS is really the little handheld that could. Like the fact that it had all of Xenoblade Chronicles on it. Like, yes, they invented a whole new 3DS to make Xenoblade Chronicles work, but
and yes, it didn't look great.
Yeah.
But still, you could play it.
Can we stop to appreciate that frickin' Xenosaga was on the 3DS?
Was it?
Or maybe the DS?
That was the
Xenosaga
DS.
1 and 2 was released on the DS, and it was pixel art 2D.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's still pretty cool.
I want to play it so bad, but it's only in Japanese, and I've studied Japanese a little, but I do not know it well enough to enjoy a game in it.
Mm-hmm. And definitely not on resolutions smaller than the 3DS, because then you won't have any furigana, and that makes it unapproachable because it's either all in kana or all in kanji, and both are very, very hard to parse.
And also, I would expect Xenosaga doesn't have the most beginner-friendly vocabulary.
Yeah, it probably is a lot of obscure religious and scientific bullshit.
There's probably also a bunch of made-up words, though.
Yeah.
Which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably better to, like you, do Dragon Quest XI or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dragon Quest XI is fantastic when it comes to learning the language, because it in America, in the Western markets, we make our Dragon Quests have these and thous, but the Dragon Quest games in Japan famously do not, and that's really good because these and thous in Japanese are very weird and very hard to, and you will never run into them in any of your Duolingo courses. But instead, you just have people talking like old people instead of people talking like the Bible. But it's everything is storybook and easy to understand, and I really, really like it.
Oh, I'm looking at Atelier Rorona, The Alchemist of Ireland, and it looks like it was not if I'm not mistaken here, it looks like it was not like ported to the 3DS. It's a Dragon Quest XI situation where it just like it is a different game, but the same game, but with different chibi graphics.
That's dope. I love when they do shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It on the 3DS, it could have gone either way because Metal Gear Solid 3 is just the whole ass game. And
apparently not a great version of it, though.
Oh, I hadn't heard either way. But the Resident Evil Revelations games are also just feature.
Oh yeah, and apparently those are good.
Those are amazing.
Feature identical to the PS4 versions, which is just insane.
I played those on the 3DS, and then I skipped the PS4 version, but I played them when they came to Switch.
Yeah.
Very good games.
They really are. They've scratched my I want to play Resident Evil, but I don't want to be scared itch that I was having a couple months ago. And I really, really enjoyed them. Because me and Summer are playing Resident Evil 7, and
that one's scary.
It's real scary, and Summer keeps calling me a bitch baby for not finishing it. But scary games are a lot scarier when your hand is on the controller. And she's like, "What? It was just a jump scare." I'm like, "No, it wasn't a jump scare.
But
it was
the controller rumbled.
It rumbled. It was me messing up that caused me to die, and that little bit of control made it happen to me and not to Ethan, and therefore I died, and it sucked, and it was scary, and I don't like it."
So for the 1 week I owned a PSVR, I played. That was the only game I tried to play, and as an adult man, I almost wet myself in terror.
Scary games don't like really get to me too much, but when I heard they were doing a VR version of Resident Evil 7, I was like, no, I am never playing that.
Yeah, I'm good off that, actually. Thanks, though.
I could win a PlayStation
story,
VR
though.
in a contest, but I would not play. And I love Resident Evil 7, but I would not play that game with it. What were you saying?
So there's a second part to that story, which exceptionally articulates me and Rebecca's relationship. Because I was sitting in the middle of the room playing this game, and I thought she was still at class. She was trying to get my attention and happened to touch me on the shoulder right as a scary thing happened.
No.
Oh, dear.
I don't like that.
And now I'm going to die at 50 instead of 60.
Before that, you were only going to make it to 60?
Well, I mean, there was also that time a dude was driving in the opposite direction, but in the same lane as me, coming home from work, and did not swerve until about a McDonald's drive-through distance away. So, like,
Yeah.
that took me from 70 to 60.
I see. And I suppose we'll save the story that took you from the standard life expectancy of 80 to 70 for another time.
Oh, I just don't take care of myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
one's easy.
That one's he was over for about 3 hours tops for my birthday and had 3 monsters and a liter of Mountain Dew. That's what that one is.
Okay, I had one monster that I was finishing and half a liter of Mountain Dew. The fact that I had already had 2 before I got there is irrelevant.
But things that aren't irrelevant are the plot of this game.
Things that are irrelevant, most of the dialogue in this game.
Yes. So let's listen to some Falcon music and then talk about the plot this week. So, last week we barely played the game, and we hung out with Kia and tried to figure out her whole deal, and we were unable to. So this week it starts off with this really long extended dungeon section that I thought would be important because it was like talking about the lore of Crossbell and pulling out some like deep stuff. And in Sky first chapter, the second to last chapter of the game, we started seeing like deeper stuff about the lore to let us know that, hey, we're going to be fighting the Areola next week or whatever. So I thought that this was going to be super duper important, but it probably isn't. Like the wiki just says the gang investigates some strange ruins. That's it that it talks about for that extended dungeon sequence at the beginning. So it's probably not important. Jimmy can get in the comments and tell us that it's actually the most important section of the game or whatever. But as it is right now, it seems to not be related because I've finished the whole chapter, and you get to the point of no return at the end of the chapter. Chapter 5 is not a normal go around Crossbell thing. So I know where we end up. It has nothing to do with this cool ass dungeon stuff, but we learn a lot of cool deep lore. So that's fun. We also get Noelle to join the party, and she has a car, so she lets us fast travel everywhere, which is awesome.
We already could fast travel.
We could
fast travel a different way.
We could fast travel around Crossbell, but now we can fast travel anywhere a car could go. So not in dungeons, but everywhere else. Yes. So as we are getting ready to go back to the town, Fran from the police station calls us and tells us that the mayor of Mainz is requesting our assistance. So we drive on over to Mainz, and Mayor Bixen tells us that Gauntz, one of the miners that we helped out back in the afternoon of the Wolves chapter, has gone missing. His family is aware that he gambles super often, but he usually tells them that he's going gambling, and if he can't make it back home, he'll like call ahead on the Orbital phone or whatever so that they'll know where he is. And it's been several days and they haven't heard anything, so they have no idea where he is. So we head back to the city to go to the casino to see if he has been gambling, and the owner's like, yeah, he's been in here every night and he's been playing a lot and he's been winning. And this casino in a town that has 4 different mafias is not run by the mafia, so we're not breaking his kneecaps for winning. We're just welcoming his patronage to give him money all the time. So they say that he's living in the hotel across the street, Hotel Millennium. So we walk on over and meet up with Gauntz. And Gauntz is kind of acting like an asshole. He's like, fuck that small ass town. Fuck mining. I'm a badass gambler now. I can win any fucking gambling you put in front of me. I'm going to be rich forever, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. And as we leave, Lloyd is like, it's really suspicious how he got really good at gambling so fast and is acting like an asshole, but it's not illegal to be an asshole and to move out of your hometown. So even though this is weird, there's nothing we can act upon as cops. So let's just go home, I guess. So we head back to our headquarters, and Grimwood, the big lawyer man, is talking with Sergey, and Grimwood's been looking into Takia to figure things out, but he hasn't found any leads there either. Everyone goes to bed for the night, and we see a cut over to Heiyu's branch, and the 2 dudes, I forget their names, but the people in charge are like, oh, it seems like Ravash is getting back on their feet, even after the whole debacle at the auction or whatever. But Garcia hasn't been helping them, but they've been badass anyways. So something must be up, because Garcia is the only thing that's has been knocking him into line. So the fact that he is pointedly not helping them right now and they're being awesome, something is probably up. So then in runs some dude that is like, hey, men are attacking the branch and they're doing good. They're like breaking in through the door right now, and they're fighting like way better than they should. It doesn't make any sense. So he mentions that they're using like heavy machine guns, like fucking Gatling guns, with only one hand, which is ridiculous. And so the 2 dudes go and intervene and fight off, and they're able to fight back and repel the attackers. The following morning, the Triple S is eating breakfast when they get a phone call from Jonah, the shitty little hacker kid, and he tells them that the Heiyu branch was raided. We head on over to the Heiyu's little building. I forget what it's front for, but it's their HQ. And when we get there, Dudley from the First Division, he's already gotten there and is trying to get information, but they're not speaking to him. So we try, and we don't try very hard, and they just spill the beans and tell us literally everything that's going on. And it's weird. Like, it's this whole, like, all right, see what you can do, like, try and level with them or whatever. And Lloyd is just like, so, what the fuck? And the guy's like, oh, here's the fuck, and just says everything. So, they tell the Triple S that the assailants weren't led by Garcia or even any of his Jaeger members. They were just literally 10 random dudes, but they were incredibly hard to defeat. The leader of Heiyu's like, this means war. They came in and they shot us up like in our front doorstep. So if you can't get to the bottom of it, we're going to have a big ass gang war here in Crossbell, and that's what's up. So Lloyd is like, all right, let's go try and do a stakeout at Ravash and see what we can figure out. But when they're going and setting up, and Garcia walks by and sees them. Garcia's like, hey, I know you're trying to spy on us. Don't fucking do that. Leave us alone and mind your own fucking business. So Lloyd asks him, hey, Garcia, you're a really good man leader. I don't know what he actually said, but you're really good at tactics and shit. So would you ever just run in the front door and be super reckless and fire heavy machine guns to get things done? And Garcia is like, the best case scenario is always the one with the minimum casualties. And the group's like, yeah, I thought so. This definitely didn't seem like Garcia doing anything. As they're leaving, in comes Grace, the newspaper lady, and she says that the raid was done by newer members of Ravash that were trying to make a name for themselves. And we talk with her to figure out what she knows and everything. And while talking with her, we get a call from Bixen to come to the casino because Gantz is getting more and more aggressive. So upon arriving at the casino, they find Gantz and Lecter gambling together, and Lecter is somehow able to beat Gantz in every single match, but Gantz is not happy about it and keeps like exploding and getting angry. So Lloyd and Randy try to hold him back, but they're like, both of them together are barely able to, and this dude's not like a bracer or anything trained. He's just freakishly strong out of nowhere. And he fights him for a second, but falls unconscious from getting super exhausted. Grace theorizes that Gantz may have used performance enhancing drugs. And so Lloyd asks the mayor if they can search Gantz's stuff for clues to see if they can find anything. Bixen is like, sure, but make sure his identity doesn't get out about this. Like, keep it hush hush. Like, he's a good kid. I don't want him to be marked down as a drug user and a felon forever. And we're like, sure. Upon searching all of his stuff, they find a bag with some strange blue pills inside. And Tio sees them and it like visibly reacts, but she doesn't say what they are right now. We return to headquarters, and Lloyd and Sergei believe that all of these incidents are tied together.
I want to point something out real quick.
Go for it.
So they find the blue pills, and they're like, for one thing, they're like, whoa, how can something be that blue? That's weird. And I'm like, pills can be blue? That's a normal pill color. Anyway, what I really want to point out is that they're like, now, I think Lloyd says, now we can't be sure these are illegal drugs. It might just be some harmless medication that he needs. But they still take the pills with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope it's not medication.
Yeah, they're just like, these might be like his steampunk EpiPens, and as long as he'll need them just in case he gets allergic to anything. So we'll take them far away from him to be safe.
Yep.
So Dudley arrives and informs the team that the First Division was also investigating the drugs, but the higher ups in the department were like, "Yeah, a drug case that's below you as the First Division. You should just focus on the mafia case and forget about the drug thing," which is sketchy as hell. So Dudley is like, "Well, since I'm not allowed, you guys should go investigate the drugs. I will concede and let the Triple S do a thing finally." So the team heads off to the hospital to ask the doctor, the fishing doctor.
Gunter, I think.
Gunter, yeah. His first name is Joaquin, but we're not on a first name basis. He's a doctor. I gotta show him some respect. He's that fishing guy. So they ask him to study the drug, and he says that he doesn't recognize it right away, but he has some theories, but he'll have to check it, and it'll take a while. And so we go to leave the hospital, and Tio faints like 2 steps out of the hospital. So we rush her over to Cecile's room so that she can recover. And when she wakes up, she tells the group about her past. And she says that she was a victim of a cult, not unlike Ren's cult. I don't know if it was actually the same one or not. I'm sure we'll find out because Ren is an important character in this game. But same basic thing, just Tio's branch was about testing drugs on the kids instead of all of the really horrible shit that Ren went through.
Just normal shit.
Yeah.
Like testing drugs on children.
Yeah. And so the drugs that they were testing were trying to like unlock the kids' or potential or something, because they were trying to find Gnosis with a silent G in English. It does not have a silent G in Japanese, apparently.
Yeah, if you listen close to the voice acting and don't just tab through the box as soon as you finish reading, which is what you usually do, you might notice that they're all pronouncing it Gnosis.
So, Gnosis, silent G be damned. Tio's group, I forget what they called it, like a hideout branch, something, whatever. Lodge. Her lodge of the cult. Everyone else had died from the drugs at the point that Guy came in and saved her, as we learned a couple chapters ago. So she's like, yeah, shit's fucked. I'm kind of fucked up by this, and I haven't felt comfortable sharing it, but now I'm sharing it with you guys. And the team's like, you can always share stuff with you or your family. Like, thank you for opening up, and it's a really cute family moment. They return back to headquarters, where Sergey fills us in more on the background of the cult. It apparently is the D ... but the dots are in a triangle, G cult. Apparently that's the therefore symbol, but in the famous words of Randy Orlando, what the fuck is a therefore symbol?
I like to think I know a thing or two about things. I've never seen that symbol before.
I took a college level logics class where we wrote out like logical statements in like basically math, and I've never seen that therefore symbol before. But anywho, D therefore G, and they know that
I'm
never
pretty
found
sure they just call it DG and leave the therefore unsaid.
Yes, they do. So it means D therefore G, and they don't know what the D stands for, but the G they found out stands for Gnosis, and so they're like, oh shit, is the cult working again? Like, are there more kids in danger? Like, what's going on? We need to get to the bottom of this. So they get ready to go in and investigate some more, and Mayor Bixen calls them and says that Gaunt's has disappeared from the hotel.
Planet.
From the planet, basically, but disappeared from the hotel. He's gone missing and they can't find him. So they take Dudley's notes of the people that they've been following that are suspected of taking the drugs, and they go to check in on all of them, and every single one of them has disappeared. One of them is the neighbor to Hayworth and his wife, and his wife gets a really cool scene where she's like super caring and taking care of everything, and it's really cool and awesome. And I hope that Hayworth isn't the secret bad guy. So after you go around talking to everyone, Lloyd gets a call from Dudley, who's like speaking super panicky, super in a rush. He's like, "Oh my, like you got to get to Ravash's headquarters like right now." And so we head over there to see what's up. And Tio, using her drug superpowers, we all thought she was a robot, but now she just has drug superpowers apparently. And so she uses her senses, and she only can sense one life sign in the entire building. And we go inside, and that life sign is Dudley. He says that him and the first division were just here, but then there was a bomb threat out at the airfield, so they were pulled away, and they were like, "Oh, we'll leave somebody behind." But the higher up specifically said, "No, this is important. Everybody go to the bomb threat." And then when Dudley hurried back, the whole place was completely empty. And so Lloyd is like, "Well, when we were investigating things on our side, we think that the cult might be making the drugs and giving them out, and this could be like more than just a mafia thing. This could be a big like crisis." So Dudley's like, "Well, you've impressed me for finding out things I couldn't, and even though you don't have a warrant, you're worried about doing what's right, and you're running in guns blazing, and I appreciate that. So I'm going to join the party real quick." And he does. I never used him because he has a shitload of MP, so he hung out in my support to be my free heals after battles that kicked my ass.
When I get a new party member in this game temporarily, I don't want to break up the gang of 4 people. Yeah. Like I'm not gonna swap out Kramer for Putty,
right? So the 5 of them start exploring the headquarters, and this dungeon is huge. So at first you have this like small-ish like pixel hunting dungeon where you have to go through all the different places and find the right pixels that'll get you this item, and then you go over here and you do the thing, and it takes a non-zero amount of time, but it's basic. And that is how long every dungeon in the game has been so far. So you're like, cool, I'm going to go through here. There's a healing point outside of the store. I'm going to go through here, and we're going to be at the end of the chapter. But then there's 3 more dungeons to get through. On one side is all the mob boss Marconi. He's been gathering archaisms, robots, and they go haywire and start to attack you. And so you have to get through all of his robots to find a key. And then on the other side, he's been illegally breeding monsters, because that's fucked up. And so you have to fight through all of his monsters to get a different key. And each of those dungeons is larger than any dungeon we've done so far, except for maybe the one last week, the church one that we just skipped over because it ended up not being important, but it was a pretty sizable
temple
dungeon.
Was pretty big, but yeah, there's at least 2 dungeons worth of dungeon.
Yeah, and then after you get both of the keys, you're like, okay, now there's a save point, and I'm going to go through the save point, and fight the boss. And there's a little bit more dungeon, not nearly as big, but a little bit more. And then you go through and actually do fight the boss. So after you get through the boss, which is a big giant robot, you get into Marconi's office and you investigate, looking around, and sure enough, he has a ledger of all the people he sold drugs to, which, like, in way too many media properties, people take notes of all of the drugs that they've sold, and that's the thing that people always find. And I'm not saying this from personal experience, but don't do that. Don't just don't leave a paper trail for your illegal drugs. Seems like a bad idea. If you're worried
about accounting, just put accounts paid as the name.
Yeah, don't write drugs.
Accounts paid, allegedly for all of this. Accounts paid, services rendered. That's all you need to put down.
Mm-hmm. Allegedly. But, so the team is like, well, what do we do? This is pretty big. Surprisingly, I was not expecting this. This did not feel like the moment for this, but Luna the cat walks up and is like, hey, this is the point of no return for the game. So if you want to go do side quests, go do them right now.
Lloyd's like, if we step through this door, there will be crossing the point of no return in more ways than one. And I'm like, are we?
Yeah, it's not a very climactic moment for it to be the point of no return. Like, in like the platonic ideal of the point of no return for me is the one in Kingdom Hearts 1, where it's like, okay, you're literally about to walk out into space and punch Ansem in the head. This is a big dramatic moment. This is the last save point in the game. Do that what you will. And this was definitely not that. It's like, hey, you know this guy's house that you've been in the whole time? You're going to walk through the door and he's not even going to be there, but that's the point of no return for this game. So Lloyd is talking with Dudley, and they're like, what's the plan? What are we going to do? And Lloyd is like, well, we got to get the Bracer Guild involved. The CGF and the CPD's higher ups are all on Bravash's payroll. That twice today they've sent you away so that the Mafia could do something. We need somebody outside of everything, and we trust Lloyd, and we trust Joshua and Estelle, and we learned I forgot earlier, but we learned that a chapter that Guy's partner on the Force was Arios, the Cassius of Crossbell, and so it's like we trust them a lot, and we need the backup, and we can't get it from the First Division. And Dudley is like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to head back to the police department, see what I can find from see if I can get us any help from the Second Division, who might not be on the payroll as much as the First Division is. And Lloyd is like, okay, cool. Let's save our game and jump headlong into Chapter 5. So we save our game. And that's the end of this section. Real quick, before I forget, because I just mentioned it a second ago. So one of my mem-moms is the whole game, Guy Bannings has been the Cassius of this game. Everybody knows Guy. Everybody is like, oh, you remind me of your brother. Guy was so great. Yada, yada this, yada, yada that. He is filling the role that Cassius played in this game. And when Tia was talking about no, Sergei is talking about Tia's backstory, and he's mentioning that guy was the young upstart in Arios to blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, this is he's obviously being the Cassius of this game, and then they literally was like, and then he was helped by a certain bracer, and a CG pops up, and it's fucking Guy and Arios and Cassius fighting together, and I'm like, God damn it, everyone on this continent knows Cassius. We can't get away from this man. And it was just perfect timing because I was making the joke, and then the reality happened.
No one can resist that mustache.
They can't.
So I guess it's that time of the week when I look at the list of side quests and see if there's anything interesting to remember.
I did all the side quests. I don't remember any of them being interesting.
One of them was you have to find overdue books again, which this time you have to go all across the whole state, not just the city.
Fun.
There's a silly thing about Anton, who I believe was a recurring NPC in the trilogy, going on a date with Fran. That's her name, right?
Yeah.
That's really silly. There's this thing where Fran is like, there's someone I love with my whole heart, and Anton is crushed that she loves someone else, and Noelle is like, who is it? Oh my god. And Fran's like, it's you. And it's like, oh my god, this is definitely how siblings actually talk to each other. There's a monster extermination. There's a hidden side quest where you, and all these hidden side quests, it's like, how the fuck would you ever find this shit? But there's a hidden side quest where you help Arios' daughter make a gift for Arios. There is search for an important person where you help find the runaway daughter of a diet member, and nothing interesting there.
The only interesting thing about the runaway daughter one is that the answer to the quest is lesbians.
Yes,
subtextual, of course, because this game only makes bad caricatures of gay men in the text. Everything else is subtext.
Yes. There's one where you go across the whole state collecting flowers. And this one's cool. There is a special side quest which is hidden, which apparently you can only get if you have a lot of detective points, which I did. And so Imelda, the creepy antique shop lady, is like, oh man, Rosenberg was supposed to give me this doll that I have a buyer lined up for. Hey kids, you go get that doll for me. And they're like, holy shit, a Rosenberg Studio doll. This is a big deal. So they go to Rosenberg Studio, and they like are at the gate, and a voice calls out to them like, what the fuck are you doing here? They say, we want to get the doll for Imelda. And he says, okay, fight these dolls I made. And it's an insanely hard fight. Ridiculously hard. And here's the kicker, you can't lower the difficulty to retry.
Oh.
If you lose, you are just kicked out, you're outside the gate now. And you can try again.
Well,
but
damn.
You cannot lower the difficulty.
That sounds hard.
I tried a lot of times. Even though you are just kicked out and you're outside the gate and you can try again, I, of course, loaded so that I'd have all my craft points. But I had to do a lot of strategizing and also get lucky. Yeah, it's hard. But
Yeah,
he gives
I
you
do
the
not
doll and you take it back to Imelda.
I do not have enough deductive points to get that one, but in general, I hate that there is RNG in RPGs sometimes, because I will spend so much time crafting a strategy and like going in and trying again and going in and trying again, and then inevitably the time that wins, they just decide to never cast their super move, and RNG is just really nice to me, and I'm like, well, I don't feel like I earned this, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. Then there's a trio of monster exterminations where each one unlocks a combo craft or whatever they're called, which does not involve Lloyd. So far, all of them have involved Lloyd. Oh, and also there's a quest to beef up Tio's Orbital staff. However, I didn't finish that one because apparently you have to do it after completing. Basically, I didn't have time.
Awesome. Yeah, it's weird that there aren't any like extra juicy side quests, because this is now at the point of no return. There's usually it like in most games, they're like, okay, well, now's your last chance to do side quest. Here's where we're going to put one that's like way too long and intricate and involved, because this is the part where people are going to reload their save and keep playing from. But kind of light on anything interesting this time around.
Mm-hmm.
But other memorable moments of this time, Noelle is awesome, and I wish she would have stayed in my team longer.
She's cool.
I liked her a lot. I also liked having a car. It felt cool to be able to go to more places than just the middle and end of the main roads. Be able to go to other places.
You heard it here first. Cars are cooler than public transportation.
That's right.
Well, especially if you live in Wisconsin, because there isn't any public transportation. But anyway,
Crossbell has been established as having excellent public transportation.
Yes.
I mean, to be fair, there's like 14 people, and 4 of them are driving the Ubers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how many people are in Wisconsin. How many people are in Crossbell?
Yeah, but Crossbell's the size of a county in Wisconsin. I ain't having Uncle Dan drive me all the way from Milwaukee up to Mankato. Don't you know? That's a 4-hour drive as the crow flies.
As the crow drives.
Oh, you can't say that here.
What?
I had a joke there. It's gone now. I'm really tired. Speaking of being really tired, it's at this point that clearly I was playing late at night, because my notes are, in quotes, all caps, this game is just wet. Which I am assuming is in reference, knowing how my brain worms work, is reference to the PS3 360 game Wet. I have,
I'm not very familiar with that game. I've heard of it, but I wouldn't know what qualities it has, which are similar or dissimilar to The Legend of Heroes: Trails from Zero.
Yeah, I had never heard of it, and looking it up, I don't see the resemblance, but I'll believe you.
I'm Googling wet Xbox 360, and I hope I get a picture of a wet Xbox 360. Nope, just pictures of the game Wet. This sure is a 2009-ass game.
It really is.
I am assuming that it has to do with the number. Yeah, it's the number of gangs in this game relative to the people around you. Because not once in that game, I think at least twice, maybe a third time, you are fighting the largest drug ring in a place. I think in London is definitely one of them. I think you both times you fight two different, the largest drug rings in London. It has been a long time since I played this game. And I don't know how tired me remembered any of this, because I only remember that I finished this game because occasionally I go through my trophies on my PlayStation and I'm like, oh yeah, I played that game, didn't I?
All right, you heard it here first, folks. After we finish this game, we're gonna play Wet.
How are people supposed to get pictures of a wet Xbox 360 if all you get when you Google wet Xbox 360 is pictures of bounty hunter Ruby Malone?
I think you have to turn your safe search off for that, Bernard.
Ironically, a sequel to Wet was apparently announced, but then canceled. And the main character was voiced by Eliza Dushku, who famously, every time she plays the lead, she has a cult classic following for season 1, and they get canceled for season 2. And
nice.
I'm glad to see that curse followed her into video games as well.
Should I order a copy of Wet Complete in box for $24.95 with free shipping?
That's a lot of money, Bernard.
Absolutely, you should.
That's a lot of money for that game.
You absolutely should. It is not on the list of backwards compatible, apparently.
I have an Xbox 360 that works.
Then you definitely should.
Seamlessly blend 3 types of gameplay with a 360-degree slip aiming gun targeting system, sword fighting, and acrobatic ability. I don't know what slip aiming is.
I don't either, but it sounds cool.
All I remember is I played this game over the course of a week. When I had stitches in my shoulder, which prevented me from working my groundskeeping job. And then they took the stitches out the next week, and that's it.
Sounds great. Anyways, back in Crossbell, where things are apparently exactly like this game that 2/3 of us hadn't heard of until just now. So hopefully 2/3.
I had heard of it.
Oh, okay. So 1/3 of us
said I'd heard of it.
I misheard. But anything in particular about this game and not about Wet that you wanted to bring up, Matt?
Not really. It's been so full disclosure, sports fans. I finished this game a while ago, which was a mistake because my brain don't work so good. I have things to say about the final boss fight, but not this chapter in particular.
Cool.
Yeah, I really liked this chapter. I also beat it a while back. As real heads will remember, last episode I said I was going to go immediately when we stopped recording and play it and be ahead of the pack, and I actually did. And so I also don't remember the moment to moment things, but I was gripped the whole time. I really like Kiseki, and it's kind of running out of ways to say that this game is really good. And even though nothing necessarily juicy happens, all of it was good and fun, which has basically been par for the course through the whole series. But it's good. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that because the vast majority of this chapter was those 2.5 to 3 dungeons all rolled into one at the end. The battle parts of the game, I had a whole lot of fun in the battles, and realizing that so in a JRPG, you come to a new town, you run to the weapon shop and you buy new weapons. But when it's not a new town and it's just the next chapter, weapon shop, I keep forgetting to go and get new weapons. And so I had apparently not been to update any of Tio's slots for level 3. And so I get Dudley and I'm like, well, I only need you to cast healing spells. I'm going to steal all this other cool stuff that you have and give it to other people. And I went to give some to Tio and I couldn't. And I was like, well, crap. Now I have to find a way to make this all work and still not use Dudley because I can't break up the team. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in the menus and making things work out and purposefully not using Ellie's new S-Craft, even though it's really good, because having interruptible full party heals that also bring you back from the dead is overpowered as shit. And Ellie rules. So I kept her on her old bullshit. But I was doing things like I ended up lowering Ellie's range so that she would have to run in more so that her heals would hit more people instead of being farther away. Things like that. It was very mechanically interesting, this chapter.
I wasn't listening to you because I was looking at the Wikipedia page for a game by the developers of Wet called Naughty Bear.
Oh, God.
Oh, no, I remember that.
I have vague memories of this. I never played it.
They used to show commercials for this game during WWE. And while I myself have never been a fan of wrestling to any great extent, I do have siblings who were.
Oh, this group made the Grinch for the PlayStation, which tells me everything that I need to know.
They made the Grinch for the PlayStation? Interesting.
Yeah. Having watched many a speedrun of the Grinch for the PlayStation, I do not doubt that they would make something called Naughty Bear.
They made a lot of licensed games, and also I got really excited when I saw Dante's Inferno on their Wikipedia page, but that was actually developed by Visceral Games, so I don't know, maybe they developed the PSP version. Okay, yeah, there we go.
It looks like they do a lot of port work, or they did a lot of port work.
Yeah. Oh, they also did High School Musical Live in the Dream for the GBA, which is the worst game that I have on my retro box.
They have a game coming out, or that appears to maybe be out, called Hooked on You, a Dead by Daylight dating sim.
Oh, that one came out. There was an article on that one recently that it didn't apparently it didn't go hard enough. It's
just one of those, wouldn't it be wacky if a game were a dating sim games?
Yeah. But unlike the KFC one and the other one that people actually liked, which I'm blanking on right now, but the first two of the trend actually were really good.
Namco High, maybe?
I can't remember. I'm going to have to find that Polygon article now. But whatever the first two were, like, they committed to the bit and they were like, no, let's actually be a dating sim and we'll use these heart-to-heart conversations to explore part of the lore, et cetera, et cetera. But then the Dead by Daylight one was kind of just jokes.
The KFC lore.
Yes. But we have run out of things to say about.
I'm not surprised that it sounds like trying to formulate a joke. Said Dead by Daylight didn't commit long enough, but it sounds like KFC doubled down.
That'll do it for the week. This episode, as usual, is a timed exclusive for our Ko-Fi supporters. Shout outs to all of you who keep the lights on and make things cool as hell. If you are listening to this in the podcast feed, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where there will be a few extra episodes waiting on you when you donate. We now have membership tiers. So if you donate $1 more a month, you get all of the regular stuff. That is the Book Club no Kiseki episodes a month early, as well as voting on all of our polls. But if you want to up your donation to $5 a month, we'll also shout out your name every episode. So shout outs to Floris, Kaldron, Freddie Rodriguez, Bernie L. Taylor, AA Ron 524, Anthony Lerma, Vim K, JFro Prime, and Doho. And if you like us a whole lot, you can bump us up to the $20 a month tier, where we'll also read a one-sentence plug of your choosing. And if you are on the Ko-Fi feed right now, you can still get this. So head over to itch.io and get the Tabletop RPGs for Trans Rights in Florida bundle. It gets you 505 items for just $5. And if you, and our other $20 a month supporter, Carr, is a dentist. So his plug is not for his Twitch stream, but for your mouth. And he reminds you to brush your teeth twice a day, most importantly, right before you go to bed. For Book Club no Kiseki, I have been Sam Ullman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
I've been Matt Jorgensen.
Adios, amigos.
A, look at the UI in this screenshot from Naughty Bear. B, daddies must be punished.
I don't like any of the sentences you just said. Oh, it's so bad.
It might be daddles, but I prefer to think daddies must be punished.